So, hi everybody. My name is James Puerini. I will let you sort of come on back for just a couple more seconds, and then we'll get started with our next event. All right, I think we're good to go here. So, my name is James Puerini. I'm a volunteer with the Traditional Ecological Knowledge Summit, and I have the incredible honor today to introduce Notorious Cree. We'll have a performance for the next little bit, followed by a presentation, and then we might have 3 or 4 minutes right at the end, just a little bit of time for a couple of questions. For this next little period, I'll get right to it, and then we'll be able to answer a couple questions. If you do have questions like in previous panels, you're welcome to pose them in the Q&A box. I will be monitoring those as they come in and trying to find a couple really good ones because we do only have a couple minutes right at the end for that. So I'll get right to it. So Notorious Cree is a world-renowned dancer, performer, educator. You have probably seen him trending on social media. I will get right to it. I am thrilled to introduce him, Notorious Cree.
Hello, everybody. Tanse. I'm really glad to be here. Really happy to come here and be able to share my story and just share some of my gifts with everybody here today. Hope you're having a wonderful day and week so far. Tanse, James Jones, Nasigason, Nahiao Nia, Talkri First Nations, Ochania, Gisa Manatao, Nanaskamau Ihi. So, hi, my name is James Jones. I'm from Talkri First Nations, which is a Cree Nihio community that's located in northern Alberta, Canada. It's from Treaty 8 territory. Currently, right now, I'm presenting to you from Treaty 7 territory. And yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. So, I want to talk a little bit about my own personal journey and just my experiences with my art form as well as my experiences in life that just kind of helped me get to here today. And one of the things that I think a lot of people assume about me, especially today with my social media platform. Like I share a lot of cultural things, cultural education. I raise a lot of awareness about what's going on within our communities. And I think a lot of people just tend to think that I grew up entrenched in my own personal culture within indigenous culture. People think that I grew up around ceremonies and traditions. And, I also I try to speak my own language as much as I can, so people think that I grew up speaking my language. And this is actually really far from the truth. Me personally, I never grew up raised around my culture. When I was young, I came from a very, very small community, and there wasn't a lot of language speakers or knowledge keepers or just culture in my area. I think one of the big things that I have learned growing up is that residential schools played a really big role in my area and played a really big role in erasing a lot of culture that was deep rooted within my people and within my community. Not to say that there's no traditional people in my community or there's no language speakers. We have a lot of language speakers and people who do good things. But just from my own personal journey, like, my mom, my aunties and my uncles, my mushum and cookum, as we say, my grandma and grandpa. I never really learned any of these traditions growing up. I didn't know anything about dancing. I didn't know anything about my language. I didn't know anything about my culture, my history, or just my role as a nihio, as a Cree man, a Cree young man. I didn't know my role within my community growing up, and yeah, a big reason for that was definitely residential schools. I know, like, a lot of my close family members, my mom, all my aunties and uncles, my grandma and grandpa, all went to residential schools when they were younger. And just some of the stories that I've heard about what happened within those residential schools were just horrible and horrifying. And a lot, obviously, if anybody has ever heard of what happens in residential schools, the purpose of them is to eradicate indigenous culture within my people. So you weren't allowed to speak your language. If you did, you were punished severely. Automatically, they cut everybody's hair, and you can't smudge, nothing like that. Basically, it's just um, you know you have to try to be as white as possible within the school, and that was the goal of them. And a lot of kids in these schools never made it home. Even now today, there's I believe, over 7,000 children's remains that are still being found today within residential schools, and this is just across Canada right now. So they're going to be finding a lot more, and yeah, this is a big part of why a lot of, I think, Indigenous youth and people in my generation are growing up without culture, is because of these. So right now there is a kind of a trend, not a trend, but there is I would like to call the a saying going around saying that a lot of Indigenous peoples are reconnecting. There's a reconnecting movement going around, and that's what I was for a long time, especially as a young man. I was definitely reconnecting, as we say, a reconnecting native, somebody who is trying to reconnect with their roots, learn their songs, learn their dances, learn their language, and just learn their purpose. And for me, it was a struggle for many, many years. I know as a teenager, especially, I struggled with a lot of mental health problems, and I struggled a lot in my journey because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I came from. I didn't know what I was supposed to do here. And it was a tough journey for me. I had a very negative childhood and had a very negative young teenagehood as well. But it wasn't until I started going to powwows when I was about 15 or 16 years old is when I started to kind of learn more about my people and learn more about um, just my role as an Indigenous man, as a Nihio within my community. And I met some really good mentors there who brought me to ceremony. And ceremony is what really changed my life. Um, Ceremony, I got brought to sweat lodges. We have pipe ceremonies as well as night lodges and things like that. And I was asked to be an escapios. In my language, escapios means an elder's helper in our lodges, so in our ceremonies. And I really loved and enjoyed that role. I love to learn, and I felt like I was learning so much every time I would go to ceremony. And ceremony is one of the big things that changed my whole life around. It caused me to make a really good decision in my life to quit, drinking, quit doing drugs, quit hanging out in negative and violent environments, and just really change my life around and try to live in a good way, or as we say, try to walk the red road. The red road is a path that's laid before every single one of us, and it's basically a path that'll get you to the place that you're supposed to be, make you the best version of yourself. So for me, the red road was sobriety, the red road was language, the red road was culture and dancing, because those are the things that were placed in front of me. And luckily I was able to take full advantage. But it's also a privilege too. Like it's a big privilege to have good mentors. It's a big privilege to learn these ways. It's a big privilege to learn how to speak your language. Not everybody gets these kinds of privileges in their life. I have a lot of friends who never was lucky enough or fortunate enough to get good mentors put in front of them, and never really got to learn a lot of these songs, these languages, our dances. So it's also a privilege too, but that's also why I use social media to share a lot of things about culture, is because I believe that that you know these social platforms that we're using today, things like TikTok, Instagram, whatever it might be, I just believe that they're just not, for me anyways, it's just another tool to share our stories. As Indigenous peoples, we've always been storytellers, and we've used certain tools to tell our stories. So, for instance, as Nihio, as Cree, we passed our stories and our language, we passed everything down orally. For many, many, many years, that's how we passed our traditions, that's how we passed down our language was orally. And today we use certain things. We write down our language. We have syllabics. We are using obviously the digital space as well to share, to learn. During COVID, I took an online language class as well. So yeah, we're using many different tools today to share our traditions, share our stories, and that's what I believe that these social platforms can be used for. If you want to, is you can also use them as a good way just to share your stories, to help out those who are reconnecting, and to also just raise awareness of what's going on within your own communities. So yeah, for me, that's kind of what I use my social media for. And I also really like learning as well. Like I feel like I follow a lot of content creators who share and raise awareness. So I'm always learning every time I'm kind of going online. I try to stay away from the drama as much as possible, because there is that side of it as well. It's can be a pretty harmful space, but I try to navigate in a good way when I'm online if I can stay away from it. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me and kind of my history, and kind of what I'm doing today within the socials and social platform and the media and stuff like that. But with that, what I want to do is I want to get into the performance side of things, and then hopefully we have a couple of minutes left to answer a few questions for anybody who has any out there. What I want to do first is I'm going to play a little tune for you guys. I'm going to use my traditional flute. And for me, what I was told is that the flute represents different things to different nations, to different tribes, depending on where you come from. Some tribes or some people would use it for meditation. Some people would use it for their own spirituality. And a lot of nations would use this style of flute as a courtship tool. So as a way to catch the eye, or maybe in hopes to gift somebody a song, so maybe they would fall in love with you, and something along those lines. Because our community used to be very small a long time ago. We used to have very small communities, and oftentimes people you were interested in had a lot of suitors. So that's why we have things like gifting songs, gifting dances, or you sometimes hear the term how many horses would it cost to make you mine, stuff like that. But yeah, so this is a little tune I'm going to play for you guys. I hope you enjoy, and then after that we will get to the hoop dance. So just wanted to play just a quick tune for everybody out there. The flute was something that was shown to me quite a few years ago, and it's something that I'm still practicing today, something that I love sharing the story and the journey of the flute alongside with me, with my performances as well as my presentations. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch you guys around and get in a better position to do the hoop dance performance. So 1 second. I just want to make sure I have my screen share on, so you should be able to hear a song from my computer, and I just want to make sure that it's working properly, because one of the times I did this and the sound wasn't on, so I did a whole hoop performance with no music. So I just want to make sure that we're gonna sound deadly here.
James, if it's not playing, then
That is coming through great.
Okay, you guys can hear it? Okay, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah, I just don't want that to happen again where I'm dancing a whole thing without music. I could hear it, but nobody in the room could hear it other than me. So just want to make sure that doesn't happen again. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. All right, so this is the traditional hoop dance. And the hoop dance is a healing dance. And originally this dance was done in a healing ceremony, a healing setting. And I was told that a long time ago, communities would have healing ceremonies for their people. So in the times of displacement, land displacement, in times of war, communities would have healing ceremonies for their people, and hoop dancers would be asked to come down and dance. Come down and dance for the people. Come down and dance for all those who are in need of healing, all those who are in need of, helping with their inner turmoil. And the people who were watching this dance would also become a part of the story. They would become a part of the journey within it. And that's why you might see something different than something that I see within the dance. So like I might do an eagle with my wings, and then you might see a hawk, or you might see a seagull. It's all depending on what you see within your own journey, within your own story. So each hoop also represents something different. Oh, that's also my dog Quay. Quay is she likes to get in. She likes to get in the shots when I'm doing the hoop dance, but she'll get scared of the hoops and run away. So no worries. So the first hoop represents your body. So when you're dancing with your first hoop, this represents your body. When you're dancing with two hoops, when you take two hoops, this represents your mind. And when you take three hoops and you're dancing with three hoops, this represents your spirit. And when you take four hoops and you're dancing with four hoops now, this represents your ancestors. So all those who are watching down upon us, all those who came before us, who are helping us in our journey, please represent that. And then when you dance with five or more hoops, this is just all of those elements coming together and telling your story in a good way. So this is the hoop dance. I hope you enjoy. Let's get the music ready. I think we will. We can get the music on. Oh, here we go. All right.
James Jones. Jones from Vancouver, British Columbia.
All right. Well, I think we have a couple minutes for a couple of questions. I'm just gonna grab a quick drink of water before we get into it.
That was unbelievable. As James Notorious Cree grabs a sip of water, please feel free to leave your questions in the chat.
Woo, all right. Hoop dancing, even though it looks hard, it is. All right. Yeah, I can take a couple questions now.
You good to go now? You need another couple seconds? That was
No.
all right. Awesome. So I will get right into it. So this is an anonymous question. Can I ask what is your favorite part of the hoop dance and why?
Well, my favorite part of the hoop dance is the fact that it brings healing. It's a healing dance. So like whenever I dance or other hoop dancers dance, a lot of our performances or dances, there's always intent to heal within that dance. So I'm always thinking about those who can't dance. I'm always thinking about those who are in need of healing. And for me, that's always a really good feeling to dance for those reasons.
Mm. So if you don't mind, I'll just keep going with these questions while we have the time. Awesome. So we have a question from Josh and a similar question here. So what are the symbolic ideas being communicated from Josh? And then from Amy, would love to hear about the different shapes you made and what they represent.
Yeah, I made a lot of different formations within my routine. You probably noticed the crocodile, the snake, the buffalo. One of the formations I'll just talk about my favorite one is the eagle. So that was the last one I did with the wings. And for me, the eagle has a lot of meaning to it. One of the teachings I was taught is that we say kihiu. So in my language, nihio, we say the kihiu. And the kihiu, the eagle, is a representation of love. So when we pray, it's the eagle that carries our prayers to the Great Spirit. And when that eagle, when that kihiu comes back down to Mother Earth, it carries the teaching of love with it to share it with all humankind as a tool to better your mind, your body, and your spirit. So for me, the eagle has a lot of meaning to it, and it's one of my favorite formations within the dance.
So we have another, in addition to questions in the Q&A box, we're seeing a lot of people that are just expressing gratitude. So just thought you should know that too.
Hi.
This one's from Sammy. I love that your reconnection is revitalizing in us and in me. How do you feel being a part of bringing the life back into hoop dancing?
Well, I feel like our songs and our dances, they never really went anywhere. They just kind of went underground a little bit, and for good reason. You know, there was a time when our ceremonies, our dances, and our songs were banned. They were outlawed, and we could be arrested or killed for practicing our cultural practices. So a lot of our dances, a lot of our songs, a lot of our stories kind of just went into you know a safe zone for a while, kind of underground, as I like to say. But I'm really glad that a lot of our songs, our stories, and our dances are now being told in a good way, and it's being told all across the globe, all across Turtle Island, all across the world. So I'm really just thankful and grateful to be a part of those stories that are resurfacing. But I'm also really grateful for those who have risked their lives and risked everything to keep these songs, to keep these dances, to keep these stories for the future generations. So I'm glad to all those ancestors who did that for us.
So I think we have time for one more, and this is actually a good one, I think, to close out on. So this comes from someone who follows you on social media and has admired your work for a long time. Do you have any tips for someone as a reconnecting native on places to start with their journey?
Yeah, I mean, the best place always is to look to your knowledge keepers within your own community, you know, your elders, your knowledge keepers, people within your own community, if you have access to that. And if you don't have access to any of those things, I would say a really good place to also look is to just do some research and find events, find things that are happening in your own community, in your own territory, because there's always, I feel like there's always good events with really good knowledge keepers and speakers. Like even the other day here, May 5th, I didn't even know, but there was an event here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. There was a really good event happening to raise awareness for MMIW, because May 5th was National MMIW Awareness Day, and like I just I literally just seen it on social media. I was like, oh, what is happening in my area? Cool. And then me and my partner went and checked it out. So if you do some research, there's always good things, I think, like that in your area where you can meet people, you know, maybe offer them something, some tobacco or something. I don't know, whatever your protocol is in that territory, and ask some questions of your own, get some knowledge on. Also, of course, social media is a good, you know, kind of last resort. Follow some really good Indigenous content creators. You know, look up hashtags of things you want to learn about, whether it be Orange Shirt Day, MMIW. You want to like learn about, you know, how to be a good ally, Indigenous rights, stuff like that. You can always look up good hashtags, type them into the search bars, and then follow good creators that way to learn a bit more. I feel like that's always a good way as well if you don't have access to any other ways.
Hmm. Thank you for that. It looks like we are at time here, so we're going to need to wrap up the session very quickly. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Notorious Cree. This was a life-giving time to sort of spend here. I think Laura might jump on to say thank you as well, but for me, thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you. You're amazing. I'm a huge fan, and I know a lot of people in the traditional Ecological Knowledge Club and at Oregon State University are huge fans of your work. Meadow, thank you. Have a blessed day. And for everyone else, we're taking a 30-minute break. We should be back, I think, at 1 o'clock. I'll put up a timer. Go and make some intentional meaning to the next 30 minutes, and we'll be back with another session in about half an hour. Meadow, thank you so much, James. We appreciate it today.
Awesome. Exe. See everybody. Thank you for having me. Enjoy your day.